Today we learned a song that was called Five Green and Speckled Frogs, and I'm sure you've probably already heard that song. If you haven't, you can look it up on YouTube and just type in Five Green and Speckled Frogs. And we are going to do the art that goes with that song right now as a whole class. And so as I walk my students through this, how we're going to do it, I hope you join us and do it as well. Here we go. So the thing that we like to do first is we are going to start by making a log because we need somewhere for our five green and speckled frogs to sit. And so I'm going to make a cylinder. Remember, a cylinder has two flat sides and the inside part is round, and that is what we're going to start with. So I'm going to make two oval shapes or circular shapes. This is more of an oval than a circle. One over here and one over here. And I want to make sure that those ovals are sitting on that red line or that pink looking line in the bottom page of your notebook. So we're going to start there. We're going to make an oval over here and an oval over here because that's going to be part of our cylinder. Then I'm going to draw a line from this cylinder all the way over to this cylinder. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to draw a line from this cylinder or this oval, sorry about that, the oval, all the way over to this oval. So now it looks like a cylinder, and that's going to be the log. Don't worry, we're going to go back in and color this later. Okay? Log, check. Next, we need to make some frogs on our log. Ooh, those words rhyme. Frog on a log. Frog, log. Pretty fun. Well, if you didn't think that you knew how to make a frog, don't worry, because I'm going to teach you an easy way to do that. Here we go. The very first thing that you do is you start in the center because that will help us to make sure that we have enough room for all five of our frogs. And they're not all going to look the same. They're all going to have a little bit of personality, but we're going to start by making an upside down U. And that upside down U is going to sit right on the log. This is going to be the head of our little frog. First, we make the little upside down U. Then we're going to do kind of like a half of a heart. So over here, I'm going to make half of a heart. And I'm going to go over here and make half of a heart. What do you suppose those are going to be?
It's legs.
The legs. You're right. Those are going to be the legs. So we have half a heart, and an upside down U. Then I'm going to make some feet. So I'm going to use my easiest shape to make, and that's a triangle. And I'm just going to make two triangle tops, kind of like little tents right here. And then at the bottom of those little triangle tents, I'm going to make a zigzag, just like this. It's kind of like a little letter M. Do you see that little letter M right there? Pretty easy. He needs some arms though. He's got to have his little front arms. These are his legs. And so I'm going to draw a couple skinny little arms. I just did two lines parallel and two lines parallel right there to make the arms. I'm going to give my friends a second to catch up. While I'm doing that, we're going to talk about what's coming next. So we have legs, we have a face, we're going to have arms, and what are we missing? We're missing some details. So we're going to get to the details after this. Okay, just like I did for the feet, I'm going to draw two little triangle arms, like his little hands or his little flippers. And I'm going to do the little tents, and then we're going to make a little zigzag line, kind of like a letter M, just like the ones below, except they're kind of the mini version. So we've got the bigger version, and now we've got the mini version. Next, we need his eyes and his tongue and his mouth and all that kind of stuff. So right up here, I'm going to draw another upside down U, just like this, and another upside down U. These are going to be the eyes. Well, he does not look very happy, this frog. He looks a bit of a grump. And so I think since his eyes are looking a little grumpy, we should make his mouth look a little bit grumpy. So we're going to give him a mouth that just goes right over like this.
Oh, Miss Sophie.
He's looking pretty cute, this frog. Don't forget, we are going to color him the color that a frog is a little bit later. We're just doing the drawing. Okay, I'm going to start my next frog, and then we'll come back and add a tongue later because he's going to eat some flies. So I'm going to do another upside down U, and this time I'm going to go just a little bit faster. Now that we kind of know how to make one, there's the upside down U, and then we have a half a heart for that leg and a half a heart for this leg. And they already look very different. This frog in the middle, he kind of has bigger legs than this guy, but this guy over here, he's a little bit skinnier and taller, so they don't look quite alike. Then I'm going to make a triangle foot with a zigzag, triangle foot with a zigzag, make a couple arms, and a couple little flipper hands right here. A couple eyes. And this guy's not going to have quite a sad face. He's going to have a little bit of a happier face because I think that looks cute. You can make your frogs be grumpy or happy. Doesn't matter to me. Whatever you think is cuter or more fun. We're going to continue on, and we need how many frogs? 5 green and speckled frogs. So we have 1, 2. If I have 2, how many more do I need to get to 5? 3 more. So we're going to make 3 more. So I've got 1 more spot over here for another one, and he's going to be a little bit wider. He's going to be a bigger frog. He's had a lot of flies to eat. Remember, if your frogs don't look exactly like mine, that's okay. We just want them to be frog-ish. And your art is going to be different than mine because you're the artist, not me. This guy's going to have kind of a googly eye. Isn't he funny? I think that's kind of a cute little googly eye that he has. He's maybe a little bit confused. And I'm going to give him a straight mouth instead of a curved mouth. Now he's looking real silly. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3. We need 2 more. Here I go. Oh, I cannot wait to see what you draw. I love this one. I love watching all of my artists in class and all of you out there if you're watching and what you are able to draw. So cool. He's a little happy frog, this one. And we've got 1 more, and I'm going to make him skinny because I'm running out of room on this side. So he's going to be kind of a skinny little frog. Maybe he's the youngest. Oh, and he needs a mouth. Maybe another grumpy one. I think these frogs turned out really cute. I can't wait to see your frogs. I'm going to come around and look in a little bit. Okay, we have our log, we have our frogs, but we also need a pool of water. We need a pond. I'm going to switch colors for my pond, and I'm going to make a little bit of what it looks like, kind of like a wave, because this whole bottom area is going to be water, and the log is like floating on the water. And so later I'm going to take some time and I'm going to fill in all of this down here so that it looks like water. Okay, I'll just start it so that you can kind of get the idea of what it's going to look like, and I'll fill all of that in later. So we've got a pond, we've got our frogs, we've got a log. I think it's time to color a little bit and make them look a little more like frogs, and I'm going to add a few more details along the way. I'm going to give some spots to my log because we in our song said 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log. So I'm going to make our log look a little bit speckled. And be careful when you're coloring not to color your frogs yet because those are going to be green or maybe brownish green, whatever you think is more frog colored. And so I'm going to color around their legs. I don't want them to be brown. I want mine to be green, and I'm going to use a couple different greens on my frogs so that they look pretty cool. Frogs are not all exactly the same kind of green, so we'll use some different tones of green on that one. And then I'm going to use my tan color or my peachy color to make the ends, because sometimes the end looks a little bit more, a little bit lighter. Let's do that. A little bit lighter color on the inside of a log sometimes. Okay, now I'm going to do what I mentioned, and I'm going to use my green. I'm going to use a dark green, and I'm going to use a light green, and we're going to make our frogs green. This is when I see the picture really comes to life, because we get to see what it actually starts to look like as a finished product. And I love to color. I don't know about you, but I think coloring is super, super fun. I hope you're taking your time as you color so that it doesn't look too sloppy. We in class always want our coloring to be what we call number 3 coloring, or even number 4 coloring. I'm going to have a couple frogs that are dark green. And remember, don't color the eyes because the eyes stay white. And then I'm going to use my lighter color down below to make the legs. And on this little frog, he's going to be a lighter green. And then these friends over here are also going to be different. I'm going to make them, at least this one, maybe this one lighter, and then I'll do the last one a darker green. Super cool. Yeah, I think I'll make that last one a darker green. I kind of like that dark green color too. Make sure that you color their little hands and their little feet, because if you don't, then it'll just look like log. Okay, here comes my favorite part. We're going to add some details. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some like weeds that are in the water. We call these cat of nine tails, I think is what they're called. I don't know exactly what the term is, but they're kind of going to look like this, where they just have a little bit of fuzziness at the top. And some of them are shorter than others, but they kind of look like this. I'm going to put a few over there on that side, and then I'm going to put a few over here. And then I'll do one over here. And a little bit shorter one right here. And we're going to also add some like grass, because if in a pond, sometimes there's like long grass that grows kind of around the outside of the pond. And so I'm going to add some of that grass also. And it's just going to look like lines. And they're going to be kind of going different directions. They're not going to be super fancy. They're just going to look like they're growing right out of the pond over here. Okay, so there's some long grass. The last thing that we need to add after we add the sun, I almost forgot the sun. We're going to put a cute little sun up here in the top, because those frogs are feeling pretty hot. So they definitely will want to jump in the pond, in the water. Then I'm going to add their tongues. Here's one tongue. Here's two tongues. Here's three tongues. His tongue is kind of hard to see, but it's there. Here's another tongue and another tongue. And their tongues come out of their mouth and they catch a fly, right? They go, and they suck those flies back in. And so I'm just going to put a little fly at the end of each of their tongues, because they are fly catching machines. Frogs are really good at catching flies. But there's not only 5 flies, there's extra flies. So I'm going to draw a couple of flies that are flying around, waiting to be caught by a frog. And when I do a fly, they're really easy. I just kind of do a couple wings and a black dot so that they kind of look fly-ish. They're not perfectly flies, but they're fly-ish. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it kind of like that. I might fill in my water a little bit more, but that is our picture that goes with our 5 green and speckled frogs poetry book song. And I hope you drew it along with us and also had lots of fun drawing with us. We will see you next time.